Okay, so today we're talking about classifying triangles. And we're going to use what we've learned about angles to classify triangles. And then we're going to talk about a fifth grade TEK would be classifying triangles by their sides. So I'm going to kind of combine them since we're talking about triangles. So first of all, a triangle is a polygon with 3 sides and 3 angles. Okay, well, a polygon is a closed plane figure with a 2D figure with 3 or more sides. So that would be a triangle, a rectangle, a square, a rhombus, a trapezoid, pentagon, parallelogram. All of those are all polygons, and we'll get more into polygons probably in the next few days or next week. Okay, so a polygon is a closed plane figure with 3 or more sides. That's all a polygon is. All right, so you can name a triangle by its angles, which would be right, acute, and obtuse. And you can name a triangle by its sides, which would be equilateral, isosceles, and scalene. Okay, for 4th grade, you would have learned how to classify an angle, or triangle, by its angle. So either as a right, acute, or an obtuse triangle. For 5th grade, we add classifying triangles by its sides, which would be equilateral, isosceles, and scalene. So we're going to talk about both of those. So first we're going to talk about classified by their angles. So the first one is an acute triangle. Acute is an angle that is less than 90 degrees, right? So a triangle with 3 acute angles is classified as an acute triangle. So all angles are acute, okay? So if you look at it and you see all 3 of the angles are less than 90 degrees, it is going to be an acute triangle. So we call this angle ABC. So the symbol for a triangle is a triangle. Okay? So this one would be triangle ABC. All 3 angles are acute. You'll see that? Okay? Next, we talk about obtuse. An obtuse triangle is a triangle with 1 obtuse angle. Okay? And a triangle cannot have more than 1 obtuse angle at all, ever. Ever, ever. It won't be a triangle if it does. Okay? So an obtuse triangle has 1 obtuse angle right here. And then the other 2 are acute. 1 obtuse angle makes it an obtuse triangle. Okay? 1 obtuse angle makes it an obtuse triangle. And then next we have right. So same thing. Right triangle is a triangle with 1 right angle. If you have more than 1 right angle, you probably have a square. Okay? 1 right angle and the other 2 are acute. So every triangle has acute angles, okay? The only difference is if all 3 of them are acute, it's an acute triangle. If you have 1 obtuse angle and 2 acute, it has to be an obtuse angle, a triangle. Okay? If you have 1 right angle and 2 acute angles, it has to be a right triangle. Okay? So that's the easiest way to classify them. So let's look again. A triangle with 3 acute angles is an acute triangle. A triangle with 1 obtuse angle is an obtuse triangle. A triangle with 1 right angle is a right triangle. Okay? Simple enough. So let's look at what the 5th grade TEKs would say. Angles classified by their sides. So the first one is an equilateral triangle. And all this is a triangle with 3 equal sides, meaning all the sides are the same length. So for instance, this triangle, and I just hand drew it, so I didn't measure it. So if this side is 4 centimeters, and this side is 4 centimeters, and this side is 4 centimeters, that means all the sides are the same. It's an equilateral triangle. Another thing you might see is if they have just a mark. If all 3 of them have the same exact markings, that means it's an equilateral triangle. because they're indicating that all three sides are the same. So an equilateral triangle is a triangle with three equal sides, all the same. Either by measurements or by marking, they'll tell you that it's an equilateral triangle. All the marks are the same. Okay, after equilateral is an isosceles. So I like the isosceles triangle because it's a triangle with two equal sides. Notice it has two markings, both of them the same. Okay, I could have used just one mark. Either way, I'm indicating that they're the same. If I put one here, that means this side is different from those two sides. Okay, so an isosceles triangle is a triangle with two equal sides. Two sides the same. Here's how I like to remember it. Isosceles, like two eyes. Okay, if you take your fingers and hold up the number 2, point them to your eyeballs, that's two eyes the same. It's isosceles. Okay, an isosceles triangle has two sides that are equal in length. And then the last one is the scalene. A scalene triangle is a triangle with no sides the same. We call it the scary scalene. Okay, no sides are the same. So look at the markings. I have 1 mark here, 2 marks here, 3 marks here. All the marks are different, indicating that all the sides are different. Okay, so it is a scalene. Scalene, like a fish. No fish is the same. They all look a little different. Scalene triangle, no sides the same. So it's a scary scalene. Okay, so again, for classifying by their sides. Okay, this is not by the angle, this is by the side. Equilateral, all the sides are the same. Isosceles, 2 sides the same. It doesn't matter which two or which way it's turned, 2 sides are the same. And then a scalene triangle has no sides the same. Okay, so your assignment for today is just going to be on classifying the triangles by the angle. Okay, so it's either going to be acute, right, or obtuse. I will also add probably one little assignment where it asks you by the sides. So make sure that you wrote all of these notes down. If you didn't, go back and rewrite them, okay, because it's super important. 5th grade, we will definitely be tested over equilateral, isosceles, and scalene this year. Okay, so please make sure that you wrote all the notes down, because they're not only going to ask you, if it's equilateral, they're going to ask you, it's an acute. So an equilateral triangle is also an acute triangle because all my angles are acute. Okay, so you have to be careful. And just like an isosceles triangle could also be acute, but it could also be obtuse. Okay, so we have to make sure that you understand the angles and how to measure them and how to look at them. Okay, all right, so make sure you put these in your notes and then look for the assignments to follow.